What's going on, 49er Faithful, 49er fan, 49er Gang? This is your boy, Niner Gang Podcast, back in the building. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, man, let's get right on into it. So I know y'all didn't see me everywhere but the channel, but I'm back, believe me. I still got another video to come. Going to do the round check a little bit later today with the people from CG Ruthless, 49er King, probably Moses, Melissa, if she's available. And I'll definitely be back a little bit later this week with a really good friend of mine. We're going to do a preview for the Bears and 49ers game as far as that is concerned. But I'm back. I will continue to bring y'all continuous great content. Not going to stop that. So definitely hit the like, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast, you can follow me on YouTube at Niner Game Podcast. You can also catch me on Twitter at SwiftD and on Instagram at 49er_Dion. Definitely keep a close eye on all of those things. YouTube is the main hub for everything where I usually would do all of that. But I do put the podcast out on all of your major spots, your Apples, your Spotify's, all that good stuff. So with that being said, man, let's get right on into it. So the roster is here, man. 2022-2023 season is a go, and it is a go with a new quarterback, Trey Lance. Trey Lance is our starter. This has been made very clear by Kyle Shanahan, and anybody in the front office would know, along with anybody else in the building has to know that. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Anybody else in the building has to know that this is Trey Lance's team, including an unfortunate person that I will eventually get to that I don't like talking about, but for some reason he's a pain in my ass and he will not go away. So let's start with the incumbent, Trey Lance. So we have three quarterbacks. We have Trey Lance, we have 10, and we have Brock Purdy. I don't like to refer to 10 by his name because I really don't want him here. Everybody else can be happy with that. I am not. That's my prerogative. It's your prerogative. If you're happy about it and you would like him to be there, that is perfectly fine. I'm not going to judge you. I ask that you don't judge me. I know that I've been on a couple other podcasts and said I saw a few content creators that basically had, a little bit of an issue with people who don't want to just go with the flow and go with what the franchise does. I don't go with the flow. I don't go with what the franchise does, which is probably why I am one of those people who will grow slowly. Channel's been up for a few years. Some people have been here in shorter lengths of time than I have and blown up and exploded faster than me. Good for them. I'm happy for everybody who explodes, who does things the right way, who continues to go with the flow. And even some of the people who don't go with the flow, who are able to still explode and blow up. No hate here, all love. Congratulations. Continue to grow, continue to be as amazing, as awesome as you are. I will continue to do me and do what I do. I've always been pretty much a rebel. So that's why I stay the way that I am. I don't allow people to tell me that I have to do certain things. And at the same time, I do take offense to some things that are said by people when they try to corner you and tell you that you have to feel the way that they feel or you should trust the franchise. When people in this franchise lie to us all the time or they make stupid decisions, and these things have been proven throughout the years. With all that being said, the move to start Trey Lance was a fantastic decision. Here's the thing. Kid's young. He's got the offense down packed. He's just got to get the reps. That is the only way you're going to know anything about Trey Lance. So for everyone that has something negative to say about the kid or, hey, I've been in the building and, everybody says he's not ready. This guy isn't it, and you should just keep 10. And, you've been winning with him and all this other bullshit. To me personally, I feel like, hey, at the end of the day, we're going to roll with the kid. The kid's going to be able to lead us to the promised land within the next 1 to 3 years, and I'm okay with that. The thing is when Lance plays and he makes mistakes, I'm okay with it and I understand it. When 10 plays and he makes mistakes, I'm not okay with it and I don't understand it because he's been in the league way too long, and he sat for 3, almost 4 years behind the greatest of all time, as a lot of people like to put it, in Tom Brady. So shouldn't be making those mistakes, should be pretty much ripped and ready to go, along with the fact that 10 is an off-the-injured kind of guy. That's just it is what it is. These are facts. You don't believe me? Look it up. I'm not going to go over all that. But Lance is our starter. This is his team. It's been made clear to the team. It's been made clear to the world. And I'm very happy about that. So Unfortunately, 10 is here. He is our backup. So as I've done on previous shows, I'll do the same thing that I've done. And I'll give you guys a quick little timeline. 2022 rolls around. 49ers make a dramatic trade. They trade a couple of first-round picks. I believe it was like a third or fourth rounder just to move up into Miami's spot. And we all figured, okay, it's definitely go get a quarterback. The media has Mac Jones as the guy. That's who they're going to pick. A couple of other people stated, maybe Justin Fields, things like that. 49ers surprise everybody and go Trey Lance. That same year, Kyle makes it very clear, 10 is a starter. That's not going to change unless by some freak of nature chance he gets hurt and Lance has to come in. So, first game of the season, first touchdown thrown, Trey Lance. Getting our ass kicked by Green Bay, need a shot in the arm, Trey Lance. 5 times we give him the ball versus Seattle. He does nothing with it. Phantom injury. Trey Lance comes in and plays fairly well. Go up against Arizona. Kyle comes in with the shit game plan and looks like he's running a college offense. Dresses Travis Benjamin over Juwan Jennings, which makes no fucking sense. So what do? We wound up losing that game 17-10, and we were almost in that one as well. Fast forward a couple games down the line. 10 can't go again. We got to go ahead and start Lance versus Houston. First half didn't look great. Second half looked a lot better. We win the game. If we don't win that game versus Houston, we don't make the playoffs. So we go into the playoffs. What happens? Everything as usual. Special teams helped us win versus Green Bay. Our run game helped us beat Dallas. So all of these things taken into account, when it comes to the big games where we need 10 to show up, he doesn't show up. The last time we saw him, he was getting sacked / throwing an interception. Here comes 2022. So 2022 rolls around. 10 says, all right, I played nice. I was coy for everything. I made it seem like I wasn't going to be upset. Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to screw everybody. I'm going to give you guys what's going on? Yes, sir. I'm ready, CG. The roster does look good on both sides. Old school Grizz. Crazy Juice. What's happening? But it was happening. I like what Crazy Juice says right here, man. To those fans that want to see Jimmy or Purdy start, they're backups, so deal with it. So, back to the timeline. 10 says, hey, I'm going to screw you guys and get shoulder surgery, tank my trade value. Now you're fucked. So we wait all off season. We're hoping somebody calls for him. Nobody calls. Nobody gives him anything. Yes, that is 120% right, Callie. I am that guy. What's going on? Callie was saying Dion, a.k.a. Angry Man from Martin. So fast forward into the offseason, Trey Lance is doing everything. Fast forward into preseason, still Lance. Fast forward into training camp, all Lance. Right before the cut day, August 29th, the 49ers decide to make one of the dumbest moves they've made in more recent history in re-signing 10. They give him $6.5 million guaranteed. Some people say it's $8 million, so I'm just going to say $6.5 to $8 million. Then they go ahead and make sure they give him a no trade clause on top of that, along with the fact that they gave him a no franchise tag clause, which doesn't matter to me because I don't want him here anyway. So don't want a franchise tag. I'd rather him walk. But basically, in reworking this contract and making it more of an incentive-laden contract, they wind up ridding themselves of a lot of the money that they would have paid him, and they make him the most expensive backup in football, along with the fact that they went ahead and cut Nate Tutfeld because they felt like Brock Purdy showed them something more in the preseason. But the thing is, you basically did all the work for another team, and you did everything that you needed to be able to give them leeway. 10 had the option to go out there, see who wanted him, see who wanted to work with him, see who would restructure his contract. There were plenty of quarterback-needy teams, and none of them wanted him. Everybody went a different direction. Now, to be honest with you, probably the Saints and still the Giants, maybe even the Houston Texans, but I believe they're sold on Davis Mills. So there's a few different teams out there that still could use a quarterback. And I think the 49ers are possibly banking on the fact that they want someone, they're waiting on someone, unfortunately, to get hurt, which we wish no injury on anyone, but injuries do happen. So they're waiting on a quarterback to get hurt and see if a team is desperate enough to give them more than they should 4-10. Here's the issue. All of these teams that needed a quarterback this offseason wouldn't even give you what you wanted when it came to him. So if you think about it, you're waiting on somebody to possibly get injured and somebody to get desperate to give you something that, he really isn't worth. And they didn't do that when they really truthfully needed a quarterback. So I'm not understanding the logic. Somebody needs to help me figure this out, because a lot of people will tell you, oh, well, you just got to wait, possibly before trade deadline, this could happen, that could happen. It's like, no, you're not making sense. Like, you need to bring it to me in a way that it makes logical sense as it pertains to why we reworked the contract for a dude that we didn't want here, but somebody we've been trying to get rid of for the past couple of years. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So, unfortunately, he's here. I have to deal with it. I'm moving on. Fuck 10. I don't want him on the field. He only winds up hindering us. He never takes us anywhere. And, yes, he may have made a few throws, but he's never done enough to get us where we need to go. He had one job, make a throw to Emmanuel Sanders, and it was very simple. If he would have done that, we would have won a Super Bowl. We probably won't be having this conversation. I could tell you right now, I wouldn't be dick riding him like some people probably would have if he would have won us that 6th Super Bowl ring. But I would have appreciated what he did, because he would have made the throw and things would have been okay. What's going on, Rocky Mountain Razorback? So at the end of the day, it's very simple. Next quarterback that we have on the list is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy beat out Nate Tutfeld for the 3rd quarterback job. I believe we probably will be carrying 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. Now, the curiosity here for me when it comes to our quarterback room is we have Lance, 10, and Purdy. The thing is, how's the hierarchy? Does it stay that way where 10 is the backup? Because to me, I don't want him on the field. I don't want him getting injured. So he has we've already guaranteed him $6.5 million, which we shouldn't have. We could have just cut his dumb ass and gave him 1.7 or 1.8 million, something like that. 1 to 2 mil, we'll call it, and let him walk and go wherever the fuck he wanted. I don't care if he'd have went to Seattle, because we'd have kicked his ass anyway. Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw would have had a field day intercepting this dude all day long. So it just doesn't seem right that he's here. But Brock Purdy did his job. He came in. He looked all right. He didn't look great in that Texans game, but the team as a whole didn't look great in that last Texans game. We just looked like shit. We got beat 17-0. Like, there's a variety of things you can go off of. So with that being said, this is our quarterback room: Lance, 10, and Purdy. Nate Tutfeld still gets paid $2 million that he was guaranteed in the first place, which is another waste of money. And that, to me, seems to be the theme here, and I don't like it. The 6.5 to me is a waste of money. The extra $2 million is a waste of money. We're still paying Weston Richburg. We're still paying D Ford. There are a variety of people that we're paying that are doing absolutely nothing for this fucking team. And it really pisses me off that we're okay with wasting the bread and keeping people who are not going to contribute in any damn way. It just doesn't make sense, especially when you're paying them, a serious abundance of money. Now, shout out to Weston Richburg because he did us a solid, but I'm sorry, D Ford was just an injury-prone player. We should have never gave him that damn contract, when it comes down to it. So it kind of is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. It's going to be what it's going to be. CG Ruthless says it could be one of the AFC teams who might suffer a quarterback injury. I hope no injury or nobody happens, but, it does come unexpectedly. And that's very true. Rocky Mountain Razorback says he can't fucking move and their line sucks dick. We would have 6 sacks a game with him in Seattle. That's it. That's 100% facts right there, Rocky Mountain Razorback. We would just wind up having way too many sacks. And like I said, we'd just be intercepting him all day. We know him. We know his weaknesses and we know his strengths. And we know that he lives over the middle of the field. If we stop that, if we literally just sat there and put everybody in the middle with that front 7, we'd be fine because it'd be real easy to beat him. But either way, we're moving on. So the next group is the running back room. So our running back room consists of Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson Jr., Trey Sermon, TDP, and Jordan Mason. A surprise cut here in Trey Sermon. He initially made the roster, but they wound up cutting him. They were looking to go ahead and probably stash him on the practice squad, maybe, but he didn't make it that far. So at the end of the day, Elijah Mitchell's our starter. They'll probably mix in a little bit of Jeff Wilson Jr. The reason he made it most likely is due to the fact that he has familiarity with the system and he's a shed ahead guy. And you know how Kyle is. He has his guys. He has his dudes that he holds near and dear to his heart that he won't let go. We all have seen it over the years. Anybody thinking that doesn't happen, He must have been blind or sleeping under a rock because, believe me, it's happened with several players, and I'm not going to go into that. So TDP winds up making the squad because he did a pretty good job in preseason. He wasn't hesitant. And then Jordan Mason wound up making the squad because you're just not going to let a guy like that clear waivers. That's the biggest issue. I love Jordan Mason. Love what he was doing in the preseason. He was doing a fantastic job, man. And I think that he's going to be a continual amazing running back for this team as long as we wind up holding him on the active roster. We may be able to send him down to the practice squad. Probably have to cut somebody, but that's not necessarily a big deal. But as far as the running back room, I like all of the running backs. We obviously know that Elijah is the unquestioned starter, and we know that they'll mix other backs in to be able to do different things. I think TDP is going to be our banger. He's going to be our hard hitter because Jeff Wilson Jr. unfortunately does have an injury history that continues to plague him throughout his career as a Niner and just in general in the NFL. So I would say most likely TDP is going to be the hard hitter. And if by some freak of nature chance we do have a situation where somebody has to sit down for a little bit, Jordan Mason winds up getting a shot. But nothing negative. I think the running back room looks fantastic, and we are doing a great job with that. So obviously fullback is Juice. We don't really need to touch on that. We already know what's happening with Juice. Juice is the man. He's the Swiss Army knife for this offense when it comes to him being a fullback / wide receiver / running back / blocker / partial old lineman / everything. Guys, literally a Swiss Army knife. We appreciate and love Juice. At least I do. Some people may not. I love Juice. I think he's great. Next up on the list, we only got 5 wide receivers. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 wide receivers. That is ridiculous. I thought we were going to keep at least 6, but obviously, in that last game, if you watch the Texans game, nobody showed up and showed out to give us a reason to say that they should make this squad as a receiver. And as well, if they're going to carry 3 active quarterbacks, probably one of the reasons that we don't have 6 receivers is because there's a number 10 on this damn team that doesn't need to be here. That's besides the point. The guys that are here, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Ray McLeod, and Danny Gray. These are all guys that I had anticipated making the team, and I anticipated all of those 5 being on the squad and there being a 6th guy. Here's the thing. There wasn't a 6th guy, so it is what it is. Malik Turner did wind up going back to the practice squad, and we'll get to the practice squad in just a second. But all of these guys are incumbent. We're probably going to be looking at Deebo and Ayuk as the incumbent starters. It's pretty obvious at this point. Juwan Jennings is most likely our 3rd receiver. Ray McLeod looked pretty good in the preseason, and so did Danny Gray when he caught that bomb from Trey Lance for 84 yards, which is something that 10 can't do. So I do like the group. I do think that everybody's going to be able to contribute in many different ways. I like what Ray McLeod brings because he has some speed. We just have to worry about ball security with him. And the same thing with Danny Gray. It's more so about the drops rather than anything else. We're not knocking his speed or anything going on there. Juwan Jennings had a lackluster preseason, but Jennings is here because he can block very well, and at the same time, he can give you a first down or a touchdown. He's a great red zone target, a big body, and when he blocks, he's definitely a bully on the field. So you got to love Juwan motherfucking Jennings. So slide over to the tight ends. We got George Kittle, Charlie Warner, Ross Dwelley, and we still have Tyler Kroft. I believe Kroft wound up getting cut and going to the practice squad. But with Kittle, Dwelley, and Warner, I think those 3 dudes are automatic, man. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Dwelley has probably, some the better hands out of him and Warner. Warner's probably the better blocker when it comes to that, as far as between him and Dwelley. But Kittle is the best all-around tight end in the NFL. We just have to get back to using him as a receiver. That's basically it. We don't use him the way we should, because I can tell you right now, there's some quarterbacks. Like I could tell you, if you put Kittle in Kansas City and you gave Travis Kelce a 2 tight end set with Kittle and Patrick Mahomes, a 2 tight end set with Kittle and Kelce, oh my God. Oh my fucking God. You wouldn't be able to stop them. They wouldn't even need receivers. I tell you right now, the minute that happened, it'd be Tyreek who? They ain't worried about no speed. These 2 dudes would kill people coming over the middle, bowling people over. Kittle would be blocking like insane. Clyde Edwards-Helaire would probably wind up with at least 1,000 to 1,500 yards. There's a variety of things that could happen, but we need to get back to using George for his intended purpose, not just blocking, because last year, that's exactly what was happening. There was a lot of blocking going on and not very much by the way of passing and whatnot. So we appreciate Kittle for his blocking skills and what he does, but we want him to be able to get out there and make plays for us along with that. So Moving on here. Now we've got the offensive line. We've got Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, and Mike Mcglinchey. Those are anticipated to be the starting 5 people. Yes, I said starting 5. I do not see Daniel Brunskill usurping Spencer Burford and taking that right guard spot back. No, he does not need to practice because he's very well in tune with the scheme. But I think they keep Brunskill as their Swiss Army knife, and they leave him on the bench strictly based on the fact that they want to make sure that the interior of that O-line gets as much experience as they possibly can. It sucks because we went from having Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Alex Mack, Daniel Brunskill, and Mike Mcglinchey to our bookends still being the same, but the interior being new. And the question with that is the interior going to be able to hold up throughout the season? And that's what we have to wait on. We've got to wait and see. 2 guys are rookies, and technically speaking, you could call Jake Brendel a rookie because this is the first season actually starting as the center and the quarterback of the O-line. So we have to hope that they gel and mesh very well, strictly because why? All offseason, you've never seen the full O-line together, period. There hasn't been a day where you've seen Mcglinchey, you've seen Williams on one end, Mcglinchey on the other, and what I like to call the triple Bs, Burford, Banks, Brendel, and Burford in the middle, and see that line be a cohesive unit, grow, gel, and be able to, continue to build continuity throughout the preseason, along with the fact that, we need that because we have a new quarterback, and we don't want Lance to wind up falling flat on his face or running for his life most of the time because this line isn't gelling properly. What people don't understand is when you go ahead and you put people together, it takes time to build continuity. Don't believe me? See the Miami Heat. When LeBron, Chris Bosh, and D. Wade first got together, they didn't gel perfectly. They lost a couple of times before they actually figured each other out, knew what each other were doing, and the chemistry was built properly. So we will have to have patience with this line, along with having patience with Trey Lance. It's not going to be fair to heap a whole bunch of expectations on the kid, and you've got a brand new line in front of him that nobody knows much about outside of the bookends, who are, consistent starters in the league and consistent starters for this team. So with that being said, that I do believe is the line, and we can appreciate that. Like I said, we got Daniel Brunskill, Colton McKivitz, Jalen Moore, and Nick Zakel. So those are going to be our backups. Those guys most likely will be able to figure out what spots they'll be in. But Kyle Love's a versatile offensive lineman, so you've got to be able to play different spots on the line. And also they brought in some other guys as far as more recently when it comes down to the offensive line for help, because they want to make sure that they have reserves and guys that they feel they can plug and play whenever they need to. So as of right now, we'll switch to the other side of the ball. We're going to go defensive line. So defensive end, we got Nick Bosa, Samson Ebicom, Drake Jackson, Jordan Willis, and Charles Omenihu. So we all know who Nick Bosa is. We all know who Samson Ebicom is. Drake Jackson, our second-round pick, our first pick of this year's draft. We expect big things from him. He is now playing his natural position. He is now put on the proper weight that he needs to be a defensive lineman, and I have given him a comp of Dwight Freeney. His flex and everything that has been said about him all offseason, along with the things I've seen from him in the preseason, lend me time to believe that that's probably his best comp, and that's the closest to who he will be as he develops into a star in the NFL. It will take time, but I do believe that he's got the tools to be able to make those plays and do the right thing. We all expect Nick Bosa to be Nick Bosa and ball out. Samson Ebicom, I expect him to be the opposite bookend of Nick Bosa. And Jordan Willis and Charles Omenihu are great depth pieces to be able to help us out in rotating and spelling those guys whenever we need to switch it up as far as giving them a little bit of rest. Defensive tackle, we've got Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Kevin Gibbons, Hassan Ridgeway, and Kerry Hyder. I did expect Hyder to make the active roster. I know a lot of people didn't, but I do because I know what he can do under Chris Kacerek. He had about 8.5 sacks back in the COVID season in 2020. And, he went up to Seattle, didn't play very well, but his best years were under Chris Kacerek, and we know that. So I do believe he's here and he's on the active roster because he will be able to make an impact. We do expect the interior defensive lineman to be Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw. We're hoping that Kinlaw can pick up where DJ Jones left off. He is no longer with us. And I wish him nothing but the best. Jones was a great hog in the middle to be able to stop that run. I do believe that Javon Kinlaw will be able to fill that void. He looks fantastic. The man is looking like an Adonis. Looks like somebody literally chiseled his body with clay. He's probably got maybe 5% body fat, if that. So when it comes to the backups, Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway, and Kerry Hyder, like what I saw from them, we were able to slip Kamoko Toure back onto the practice squad because he actually looked really good when it came to the preseason. Every play he made, he looked fantastic. He was always around the ball, flying to it, making sure he got there. So I do like having him on that practice squad. But right now, if we're going to have Armstead and Kinlaw in the middle and then Ebicom and Bosa on the bookends, as far as the defensive line, I'm comfortable with that. We should be able to get great pressure. We should have a nice amount of sacks. I see everybody at least being able to get into, anywhere from 5 to 10, or, in Nick Bosa's case, probably about 10 to 20. It all depends. But I know the pressure is going to be created from various different spots. And you can't put two people on Nick Bosa and on Javon Kinlaw because then you still have Eric Armstead and Samson Ebicom, and the other guys that I named, your Charles O'Menahue, your Jordan Willis, your Kerry Hyder, your Hassan Ridgeways. You still have those guys to be worried about. So if you're trying to double and triple up on one guy, there's going to be somebody that's free to be able to make a play. We just have to be mindful with the mobile quarterbacks because in previous years we have had a bit of an issue with those type of guys. So as far as that's going, we look really good. Just going to take a quick look at the comments here. CJ Gray said, Callie says, Gray will be wide receiver 3 before it's all said and done. And Jerry Rice said he stood next to Gray and he's taller than he thought. But yeah, I know a lot of people are riding high on Danny Gray because Danny Gray did go ahead and have that 84-yard bomb in the first game. But, we got to wait and see on him. So back to the roster. We got Fred Warner. As far as these are the linebackers, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Azeez Al-Shaair, obviously all 3 starters. Then we got Owen Burke, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, and Curtis Robinson. Robinson has already been placed on the IR due to the fact that he was injured. I do believe that Owen Burke should be ready for the season opener. We didn't draft Owen Burke. We picked him up in free agency to boost our special teams, and I do believe he's going to continue to do that. He didn't look too bad in the preseason as well, being a linebacker. When it comes to Curtis Robinson, definitely didn't anticipate him making the team. I probably would have went ahead and just cut him and kept him Kamoko Toure and went ahead and threw him in as a hybrid defensive lineman / linebacker and made that play because it would have made more sense. But it is what it is. Once again, I'm just a fan, so I'm taking a look at it. We all expect Fred, Dre, and Azeez to have fantastic seasons, continue to give us great things to look at, and give guys like me great content to be able to provide to you guys with their play on the field. So when we have cornerbacks, we have 5 DBs. We got Charvarius Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Sam Womack, and Diamador Lenore, and Ambry Thomas. Currently, right now, Jason Verrett is on the PUP list, so he'll be back by at least, I believe, like week 4 to 6, somewhere in that range. I do believe that once he's healthy, we should be good to go, be able to keep him and get him rolling. I do like the depth in the defensive back room. Unfortunately, Ambry Thomas has taken a bit of a step back, while Diamador Lenore has taken a step forward. He's looked a lot better this preseason, and by all accounts, everything that you've heard from the coaches and any of the players around him, he's looking great. He's doing well. And even when you watch him in the preseason games and you see the action, he's actually stepped up and he looks a lot better. I think the game slowed down for him. Plus, he dealt with some personal tragedy in his own life. So that can kind of deter you, and mentally it'll have you out of things. If you don't believe that, look at what happened with Solomon Thomas. It took John Lynch walking up saying, hey, man, if you need help, we'll get you some help. And it finally helped the guy. And, Solomon, I believe, is still a Raider, but, that's just the fact of things going on. Rick Diaz says, hey, my friend, what's going on? My friend, go 49ers. I just wanted to say hi to your show. This is my first time in to your show, and it looks really nice. Thank you very much, Rick Diaz. I appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe button, man. I'm becoming with content on a consistent basis. The season is here, so I've got to be able to roll that content out as quick as possible. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Rick. So next up on the list, we've got safety. We've got Jimmy Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Tarvarius Moore, and George Odom. So we'll most likely see George Odom and Talanoa Hufanga as the starters. Jimmy Ward's most likely going to be on the PUP list for a while. That hamstring strain was a little bit worse than we thought. And a lot of people have been calling and saying, hey, Tart got cut. Why don't we bring him back? I don't believe they do, just based on the fact that it doesn't make sense because Tart plays the position that Huff plays, and then you can't really bring Tart back and then send him on the bench when Jimmy Ward comes in. Like, it's just not adding up. So I do believe that they'll go ahead and have George Odom and Talanoa Hufanga on the field, and they'll most likely have or they could possibly put Moore over there and then let George Odom be the special teams ace that he was brought in to be. But Odom does bring a viable threat as a safety, which is his actual position. So not going to rag on the guy. I think he's a good addition, and, that's going to go very well. And thank you for letting me know that, CG. He says Solomon Thomas went to the Jets, so he's back over there with Robert Saleh. That's not a big issue. You know what I'm saying? Robert Saleh knows how to get some good things out of defensive linemen. Of course, Chris Kaserik was a big help, but Saleh's a really good dude, and he's a good person. He's great with the player, man. I think that's definitely the point of that. So, of course, our special teamers are Robbie Gould, Mitchell Schnowski, and the greatest number 27 in the league, Tabor Pepper, baby. Gotta love that guy, man. I do like Tabor Pepper. I love his attitude toward his Madden rating and how he actually embraces it. They did do a little thing where they had the 49ers kind of trying to give everybody a model look and, a model face. Tabor Pepper actually did a really good job. Everybody loved Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa really channeled his inner Zoolander with that one. So that was actually pretty funny to look at. If you haven't checked it out, just go to the 49ers YouTube page and you'll see it, man. It's actually fucking hilarious that these guys are out there doing stuff like that. But it's always good because you tap in and it makes the players more human. You know what I mean? You want guys that will be able to be reachable and guys that will, do things the way that they need to be done. So the 49ers practice squad, we've got Alex Barrett, Tayshaun Gibson Sr., Alfredo Gutierrez, Taylor Hawkins, Quantrez Knight, Tay Martin, Marcelino McCrary-Ball, Jason Poe, Willie Snead IV, Keem Spence, Keaton Sutherland, Kamoko Toure, and Malik Turner. So you see we've got two receivers there. We've got Tay Martin and we've got Malik Turner. If anybody gets caught up, it's probably going to be Malik Turner due to the fact that he brings a different dynamic on special teams, and he looked really good, even though they missed a clear helmet-to-helmet call, along with the fact that Malik Turner probably is the better receiver out of the two. When it comes to Marcelino McCrary-Ball, he did have an interception in the first game. He looked pretty good. His press conferences are pretty crazy because he'll go on a tangent when you ask him questions. I have an issue to be, long-winded at times, so I kind of get where he comes from, but you got to work on that and tame it, man. You kind of keep those answers short, sweet, and simple and keep moving. Kamoko Toure, like I said, having him on the practice squad is fantastic because I love what he brings to the table. Keaton Sutherland was trash. I don't even know why we put him on the practice squad. I'm sorry. Keem Spence, didn't really see much out of him. Don't know much about the kid. I mean, I know he's a D lineman, but I didn't even know he existed until I actually saw him on the field in the first preseason game. Having Willie Snead there, he could possibly get called up too if one of the, if God forbid an injury happens to one of our receivers, because Willie Snead is a vet in this league and he does have some kind of skills. He's all right on special teams as well. Glad we were able to get Jason Poe back because he was looking pretty good during the preseason and throughout the offseason. He's a shorter offensive lineman, but at the end of the day, the guy's pretty good at handling himself. And he knows what he's doing on the field, so that's why he wound up getting signed. Quantrez Knight, shout out to Moses. That's his favorite guy, man. And then that's a UCLA dude, so that's my guy. Got to love him. Glad he's there. Taylor Hawkins didn't look too bad when he was playing safety for us. Alfredo Gutierrez, once again, is the same guy that we have who was in the program that the NFL started, where they're trying to give, people from different places in the world an opportunity to get a team, get with a team, work out, start to build and start to grow. He's still on that path, but, he's just not coming along as fast as everybody would like. So that's why he is on the practice squad. So Tayshaun Gibson Sr. Now, this guy, I'm going to talk about him for just a second. So everybody liked him because when he was with Jacksonville running pretty much a very similar type of scheme that we run on defense, he was a baller and he was an all-pro. So a lot of people are banking on the fact that he'll return to that status if they decide to call him up and have him start alongside Talanoa Hufanga in the game rather than having George Odom start and keep George Odom onto as a backup, along with the fact that he's going to start, on special teams and whatnot, which would make sense if Gibson knows what he's doing and he's able to continue to be able to grow and return to form and understand the scheme, understand his role in it, and be able to make plays. I'm all for it. I'm all for winning. That's all I really care about at the end of the day. I may get upset about certain things. You guys may see me go on rants or little tangents, about some things that I may or may not care for. But at the end of the day, the W is what truthfully matters. So that's all we really need. And then we got Alex Barrett. Barrett was good for us, and I'm not mad at that at all. I'm actually very happy that Alex Barrett is here. He did a couple of good things for us, so can't be too mad at that. But that is our current roster, ladies and gents. We are pretty much headed into the season with those guys. We all know who our starters are going to be. If you didn't hear me, I'll break it down again for you. Starting quarterback is Trey Lance. Starting running back is Elijah Mitchell. Starting fullback, Juice. Starting offensive line, Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, Mike Mcglinchey. Provided Mcglinchey is healthy. If Mcglinchey is not healthy, I can't tell you who's going to be at right tackle. I'll leave that from a big dog, CG. He usually will tell us that and let us know what goes on. CG Ruthless says we signed Buddy Johnson. I'm not really sure who that is. He's probably another lineman because we've been signing old linemen like crazy these past couple of days as far as just trying to make sure we get guys in. But the starting wide receivers obviously are going to be Ayuk, Debo, and if there's a third receiver, most likely would be Juwan Jennings, possibly Danny Gray, depending on what they feel they want to do with him and how they want to use him. Hopefully, he's running a lot more routes, and I love him in the the preseason and earlier on in the OTAs and whatnot. He said no block, no rock, which he's very aware that if you can't block, you're not going to get very many targets. And I like the fact that he understood that, embraced it, and appreciated such. Then when it comes down to flipping to the other side of the ball, defensive line is going to be Bosa, Armstead, Kinlaw, most likely Ebicom will be our starter. Our starters out on the outside of defensive back are going to be Ward and Mosley. And we'll put Womack in the slot. And in the backfield, most likely, technically speaking, it should be Jimmy Ward and Talanoa Hufanga. But as of right now, it's most likely going to probably be Talanoa Hufanga and George Odom, or maybe even Tayshaun Gibson, possibly even Tarbarius Moore. That's actually a question mark. We'll have to take a look at one of the guys and see what they bring and see what the team decides, because we have to put out an official depth chart here pretty quickly, very, very soon. Definitely ahead of the game and whatnot. Kyle likes to wait till the last damn minute like he's fooling some damn body or something. I don't understand it. He always tries to play chess and everybody else is playing checkers, and sometimes that can be a detriment to you because you're over here over planning or overthinking, and everybody's like, nah, man, it's really not that hard. It's actually real simple, So that's definitely the case. CG says either we play Moore or McKivitz if Mike Mcglinchey is out, which makes sense. I probably would go with Colton McKivitz just because he's played tackle. Even though he played left tackle in college, I'd probably trust him a little bit more at right tackle. We all know the limitations that Mike Mcglinchey has. He's a great run defender, but he's a so-so pass blocker. He has progressed and gotten better, but he's still not to the level that a lot of us as 49er fans would love for him to have and love for him to be at. Cory Davis, hey, what's going on, man? I am having a wonderful Monday. I'm alive. I'm blessed. I can't complain, man. Nothing better than being able to wake up, have both eyes open. I wake up, roll over, my beautiful woman is there, and I have no reason not to be happy, man. So I'm doing well. I appreciate you for stopping in, Corey. But that, technically speaking, right now is our roster. Obviously, we know the coaches. We got Lynch, and we got Lynch as the GM, and head coach obviously is still Kyle. Defensive coordinators, D'Amico Ryans. Our special teams coordinators, Chris Forrester, and we have our assistant head coach, along with running backs coach and Anthony Lynn, that was brought in because Bobby Turner's taking a year off because he had some surgery and he's trying to recover and get himself back to normal. Do love what Anthony Lynn is going to bring to the table. He's going to do a fantastic job with those running backs. I think that's going to be an amazing situation, and we'll see some fantastic progression from that group in general throughout the year. So that is our roster, man. That's our roster check. I just wanted to do my own little show because I've been doing everybody else's, which is always cool. But then again, I know that my people like my content. If you're listening to this and you do want to go ahead and donate to the channel, it's patreon.com/Niner Gang Podcast. That's the number 9, ERGANG podcast. And you can donate there if you would like to. If not, I definitely, do appreciate you guys just tuning in and listening to me rant and talk about the Niners and continue to keep you updated and posted. Let's see here. Andy Smith in the building. What's going on, man? So I'm just chilling. I was just going over the roster and whatnot, letting everybody know exactly who's here and who's not. So we've covered the active roster. We've got the guys that are on the practice squad as of right now. So we'll continue to keep you updated with any and everything that comes through. I'm one of those people, I really don't do big news unless it's real news. If we sign some random nobody, I probably won't tell you about it. I'll leave that for everybody else to do. But if we sign somebody of significance or we're able to trade 10 and get rid of them, that will definitely be the day that you see me going insane on this channel and being overly happy because he'll be gone and my prayers will have been answered. But either way, man, season is about to start. The Bears are around the corner. Like I said, I will get you guys a preview show on tap for that, and we'll go from there. And be able to see exactly what the season brings us. CG Ruthless Sports. My swelling has gone down, so I have some uses with the left arm. If you just had a recent surgery or anything, Corey, I'm wishing you nothing but a speedy recovery, my brother. Take your time, heal up, get yourself right back into the swing of things, and everything will be good. But thank everyone for tuning in. I appreciate all of you guys for giving me some of your time today. We're almost to about the 43, 44-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I will see you guys in about 2.5 hours with the round check with myself, CG, 49er King, Moses, and Melissa. And we've got Dave McNew. Dave has been coming. He just came in last week. He is our new guy that will come in and definitely, give his opinion and voice his opinion on the round check and let us know what's going on. I appreciate all of you guys for stopping by. Be faithful, be blessed, stay strong, and I'm out this joint. Peace.